We got to break it down here and get to the Crimson Tide players to watch. Is that correct?
That is correct. Let's roll.
All right. Today's tough question. We kind of did that earlier, but we'll do it again. Today's tough question is right now. And who is the most important player on Alabama's football team? Boom. Here we go.
Today's tough question. Take a side. Take a stand. The Dave Hooker Show, a presentation of OffTheHookSports.com.
All right. Give me number 5, Caleb.
All right. So number 5 is, Alabama Mike linebacker Jihad Campbell. He is their leading tackler. He has 5.5 tackles for a loss, 1.5 sacks, an interception, a pass breakup, a forced fumble, and 51 total tackles, 30 of which were solo. He does it all. Over the past few weeks with this explosion into the 3-3-5, you've seen more confusion applied at the Tennessee tackles particularly, Dave. We keep talking about them being slow. We don't talk about how confused they're getting on linebacker blitzes because they're getting confused a lot. And I think that's a big part of that. So I think Alabama's going to try to use him to sneak into the backfield a lot, and Tennessee's got to be ready for what he can do on that front.
Okay. Who's next in the Alabama players that you need to keep an eye on?
Number 4, Keon Sabb. Now, both Keon Sabb and Damani Jackson have 2 interceptions each in the secondary. Damani Jackson is going to play on Saturday. I think, as you know, he got banged up last week. I'm not sure how healthy he is. He's listed as probable. Tennessee should target him if they can, just to test how healthy he really is. So because of that, I think Keon Sabb is who they got to be more aware of. At free safety, he's got 3 pass deflections and is assisted on a tackle for a loss. Given how Nico has floated 2 balls over the middle this year that have been intercepted, I mean, that plays right into Keon Sabb's hands. So they have to be ready for that.
All right, Caleb, who's next?
All righty. Number 3 is 17-year-old Ryan Williams. And everybody talks about that catch he got against Georgia, but he's got 23 catches for 576 yards and 6 touchdowns on the year while running for another score. Honestly, Dave, the matchup of the weekend, it's funny because I didn't have him on my 5 most important Vols, but Jermon McCoy versus Ryan Williams is going to be the most fun matchup in this game, honestly.
I completely agree with that. And he's had, you mentioned the one catch. You talking about the 360 bobbling catch?
Yeah.
He had another one that was very Lynn Swan-esque where he kept his feet in. I mean, that one's kind of special because he did it like a 360 and he's tipping the ball. But I mean, if not for that one, we'd be talking about another highlight catch. It was fantastic. I mean, he has special hand-eye coordination when it comes to the football and bringing it in.
Very reminiscent, dare I, and I'm invoking the name in a positive way, but Dave, I hate to say this name, but Tyrone Prothro, before he got hurt, he had the best hand-eye coordination of any receiver I'd ever seen.
Yep, very good player. Who's next, Caleb?
Number 2 on the list is, I'm going to make Dave's head explode. I love making heads explode on this show. I've already made Josh's head explode. I'm going to make Dave's head explode, which is that Alabama has their next Will Anderson. And his name is Q Robinson. I'm not biased to people whose names start with Q, guys. I promise. But
like Quincy, his son.
Yes, like my son Quincy. But Q Robinson started the year as a backup. He's a backup technically the way James Pierce was technically a backup on last year's team. He already has 7 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, a forced and recovered fumble, and he's about to go up against probably the worst tackles he's faced of any Power 5 team he's played this year. Dave, I'm sorry. This is like Tennessee should worry. Q Robinson could walk away doubling his sack total after Saturday.
Well, if the tackles aren't better or they don't have a better answer for that, you're right. Word Trucks, all about trucks. We'll get to the top 2 Crimson Tide players you need to watch. First, let me tell you about – I'm sorry?
The top. Just the top one. Sorry.
Work Trucks, all about trucks that are actually available, trucks that help you maximize your profits by having the right work vehicle now. Time is money. The perfect work vehicle doesn't break down, has all the space to carry what you need. That's what Work Trucks is intent on offering, while other dealerships just can't do it. Contracting about time. Work Trucks saves you time with less back and forth trips and trucks that pass the highest standards to be put to work. The process is also quick and easy. when choosing a vehicle for work trucks, cargo vans, utility body trucks with an iPod work bodies installed, pickup trucks of all sizes, and anything specials like cranes or dump trucks. Work Trucks supplies vehicles to people just like you and get you back on the road. No dealership runaround. If you're a contractor, you need to know Work Trucks, and that's a fact. Service industry, remember Work Trucks. Work Trucks carries trucks that your business has to have. You need Work Trucks, Clinton Highway in Knoxville, downtown Birmingham for the entire inventory. Go online to worktrucksllc.com. That's WorkTrucks with an X, LLC.com. Why risk chancing your future and business on the wrong piece of equipment that burns your time? WorkTrucksLLC.com. They'll find the perfect truck, outfit it, and make sure it fits your needs to a T. WorkTrucks with an X, LLC.com. Proud supporters of the Tennessee Vols. Caleb, who is next? Number one has to be Jalen Milroe, right?
Obviously, Jalen Milroe. Although I want to say Q Robinson was close because, again, he might be better than Will Anderson. But Jalen Milroe is number one. It's cliche, but homeboy's completing 72.7% of his passes, averaging over 11 yards an attempt, has 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's also run for another 11 touchdowns and run for another 319 yards. So, I mean, it's not too close, but we're talking like Cam Newton level numbers of running and passing for a quarterback right now. And at Auburn, not all the way there, but close. And again, Tennessee is facing him without Keenan Peely, and we don't know how that's going to affect things.
He's not nearly as tall, but there is a comparison there from just kind of being a freak athlete type. Now, I think that Cam Newton was faster, bigger, stronger. But still, with Milroe, there's a power type of a play there that you just don't see. I can't think of another quarterback, real honestly, in recent histories other than Cam Tim Tebow that made you pay for it when you tried to come up and tackle him. I mean, Nico might end up being the best runner in the world. Mike Vick was probably the best runner in the world in college football, but I don't think you got punished when you tackled him.
Well, that's the difference. And as a matter of fact, it's funny you say that because you'll laugh at this. In 2011, when RG3 and Cam, in 2012, when RG3 and Cam were both in the NFL, I said that RG3 was having his best year and he was a better thrower, but I said Cam Newton would last longer. And people up here where I was at the time thought I was crazy. I said, no, it's different. RG3 can't sustain the level of punishment of getting hit. Cam Newton was a rare quarterback who, most quarterbacks that get hit like that have a short shelf life, but I'm like, not when you're that size. Jalen Milroe was kind of like that, where like getting hit doesn't wear him down. Does that make sense? Whereas most quarterbacks that get hit like that.
Sense. He's like 6'2.5", 225 pounds. He's thick. He's incredibly difficult to stop. And I don't know that he is he's going to be stopped as a whole by Tennessee's defense because of what Ryan McGee just said, in that he is really all they have. He could account for 250 yards easy, maybe even 300, and Alabama could still lose the game. Where would you put his over-under that you'd feel confident that Alabama wins the game if he does what?
If he goes for, well, like I told you, if he gets a big running play and a big passing play, then I think Tennessee's in trouble. Just a big passing play, Tennessee can withstand. But if he goes for 250 and 75 rushing yards, Tennessee's got a lot to worry about. Here's a weird question too, Dave, before we move on, because I've told you guys that I was writing off Alabama, not because I didn't believe in Kalen DeBoer or a new head coach. I just knew that Kalen DeBoer ran the air raid, and I thought Jalen Milroe wasn't a fit for his offense. I think you and I both agree Kalen DeBoer's done an amazing job tailoring his offense for a quarterback not a fit for him.
I agree with that, but the one thing that you said that I always wanted to add a caveat to, Jalen Milroe's not a great fit for that offense. But at the end of the day, he would be a great fit for any offense. Take the run and shoot. A little before your time with the Houston Oilers and Warren Moon. I'm not comparing them because they're both African-American. But the bottom line is Warren Moon couldn't run. Jalen Milroe would be able to just drop and run because you'd be so afraid of playing zone coverage against them. And
ironically,
I think he would be would you agree with this? He'd be a C+ in any offense that you can possibly imagine. And I'm going to include the old Nebraska offense with Tommy Frazier.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's the one thing I totally agree with that. And ironically, I just want to shamelessly plug preparing for dealing with the Houston Oilers offense is where Nick Saban invented pattern matching for cornerbacks. That's where he came up with it because he realized that the cover 2 wasn't going to be sufficient to stop the Warren Moon vertical attack when he was the Cleveland's defensive coordinator. But yeah, so you would say that Kalen DeBoer, what he's doing with Jalen Milroe, is not as impressive as how Urban Meyer tweaked his system for Chris Leak.
Yes, I would agree with that because I think Jalen Milroe was a better talent than Chris Leak. I didn't think Chris Leak was a great runner. That's why they had to bring Tebow in.
Yes, I totally agree.